I'm reviewing Oppenheimer, released in 2023. It's directed by Christopher Nolan. It stars Cillian Murphy opposite Emily Blunt and Robert Downey Jr. It's a biopic based on a biography entitled American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of Robert Oppenheimer. The title of that book pretty much sums up this movie. It's leading the Manhattan Project. His tragedy would be his, at the surface level, his security clearance being put up for questioning, serious interrogation following the war. I saw it a year ago in theaters, a couple of days after the anniversary of the Nagasaki bombing. I didn't want to fawn at the altar of Christopher Nolan. I like some of his movies, but not all of them. But after having watched this movie a second time, I would say that it being the best picture of the 2024 Oscars is deserved. I haven't seen all of the nominees, but I don't think I need to. The performances are great. Murphy is convincing as Oppenheimer. Emily Blunt, she seems to excel at playing flawed and kind of smug characters, the kind of person who I would not want to be around in real life. Robert Downey Jr. is great. The audience is supposed to really dislike him, but I found his portrayal to be sympathetic. Some of his grievances with Oppenheimer are legit. I would say that the best part of this movie is just how it shows the full spectrum of people. After watching this movie more recently, I can appreciate it a lot more. I'm kind of a fan of movies and shows set during the Second World War, but the downside of being a fan of that genre is that sometimes you get kind of burnt out on it, and I think that was the case last year. I would recommend Heavy Water War. It's a British-Norwegian miniseries that looks at the development of nuclear weapons on the German side. One of the key figures in that story is Werner Heisenberg, who's shown in this movie briefly. There's also The Imitation Game. It doesn't deal with nuclear weaponry like Oppenheimer, but it follows the same sort of template. Oppenheimer is considered the father of nuclear weaponry, whereas The Imitation Game follows Alan Turing, who's the father of computer science. I've been thinking about what makes Oppenheimer such a better movie than The Imitation Game. Oppenheimer does a better job of building anticipation and excitement. I think part of that has to do with just the nature of the discipline that's involved, being on the cusp of new levels of scientific understanding, whereas The Imitation Game is more about puzzles and math and computing that isn't as inherently compelling to the average person. Einstein, or a depiction of Einstein, has a small but very important appearance in this movie. Oppenheimer is not a household name in the way that Einstein has been, but I think with this movie going forward, more people will know about him. I had known about him already. Part of that is being a fan of the Metal Gear series that involves real life history, politics, and technology. Otacon, a key character, being the son of a weapons scientist who had been born on August 6, 1945, the day of the Hiroshima bombing. Besides being a fan of Metal Gear, I'd known about Oppenheimer already through an assignment that I had done in high school for a physics class. Our teacher made us watch Fat Man and Little Boy and write an essay about it. That movie had been released in 1989. It stars Paul Newman. It follows the Manhattan Project from the perspective of Leslie Graves, the Army officer played by Matt Damon in this movie. I appreciate that assignment. It's important to know the consequences, the effects. On the second viewing, I thought, upper class high school students should be watching this movie as part of their curriculum in physics and chemistry and biology. Know the technical aspects and strive for new levels of understanding and maybe even revolutionary achievement, but don't forget the human toll that your work can have. This movie will forever be linked with Barbie, totally different in their tone, but they do both deal with existential crisis. Barbie at the individual level in a more lighthearted way, and this movie at the individual level as well, but also at the species level. Thankfully, I don't imagine humanity wiping itself out with nuclear weaponry. I believe that will stay limited to fictional works like Fallout or movies like Doctor Strangelove. Nonetheless, this movie is a compelling story, which is a great bonus, but it's really the content. This movie is important and you should watch it.